Ghost Recon Wildlands is one of my favorite games. So when I saw that its sequel Breakpoint was on sale on Steam, I thought, why not? Let's check it out and see how the story continues and what new improvements they made in the game. But once I started playing it, it felt underwhelming and disappointing, to be honest. If I had to sum it up in one sentence, it would be this. Wildlands was built around the player, while Breakpoint seems built against it. There's one thing that Breakpoint did really well, and that is the setup for the introduction. You crashed your helicopter into this unknown island where you were sent to find out what happened after losing contact with it. You survived by miracle only to find out that most of your crew didn't make it, and others were nowhere to be found. Immediately after, you encounter enemy forces going through the wreckage and inspecting the area. So it immediately puts you in a high-tense situation, surrounded in an environment you're not familiar with no support, no weapons, and you try to make your way through the jungle until you find a safe place. And I love this. It hyped me up so much. I was totally ready for an amazing story and get back to those stealth mechanics that I love and face new enemies. But that's not what happened. I immediately noticed issues that I tried to push aside and tell myself, it's fine, it's minor issues, it's fine. But the more I progressed, the more clear it was that no, it was not fine. Until I finished the game, notice the quotes because I will come back to this later, and then it's when it truly hit that this wasn't the sequel that I really hope Wildlands would get. So, starting with the map, both games have huge maps, filled with forests, mountains, surrounded by sea and rivers, and the story will take you all around it, giving you always the choice on how to get there. In Wildlands, for example, I would drive to location as much as I would fly to them, and whatever was the vehicle I chose, the map was designed to move around it, since the vast majority of locations were interconnected. But very early on, I noticed this was not the case for Breakpoint. For instance, Breakpoint's map is composed by different islands, they are surrounded by sea, and they are not connected between them. So driving to locations became a chore, since it would force you to drive until you reach the coast, then get a boat to the next island, if you even find one, only to find out there's not even vehicles available in the other side, and you would have to walk through kilometers of jungle that were not even designed to be walking in the first place. After hundreds of hours in Wildlands, I can tell you right now how many times I got stuck in a location unable to progress. Zero times. But after only 30 hours in Breakpoint, I wouldn't even be able to tell you an exact number because it happened so many times. And there's also the destructivity aspect. In Wildlands, fences, small rocks and walls can be destroyed if you drive over them, making traveling around the map way more fluid, more user-friendly, more forgiving. But in Breakpoint, I found almost none of that. The map seems to fight against you, and in such a large area, this is really frustrating. That balance that Wildlands has, it's completely gone in Breakpoint, where I was forced to drive to every single location. I don't even recall using ever a line vehicle. Not only the environment itself seemed more carefully created in Wildlands, but also how they brought life into it, and the design of NPCs. In neither of them the AI is really advanced or complex, but yet in Wildlands they still managed to create a world that feels alive and it's lived on, even with those limitations. They react to the surroundings, some rebel allied forces can help you in combat, and it does feel like they are living there. But again, the contrast with Breakpoint was noticeable, even though the game came out 6 years after. In Breakpoint, I never really felt like they belonged there. It didn't make the world feel alive, and all the NPCs felt like prompts. Very limited reactions, and they only exist in very specific areas. And it takes out of the immersion so much. And speaking of NPCs, maybe the more important of them, your actual enemies. These are also designed quite different, especially when it comes to the difficulty level. I was challenged in Wildlands. Some missions were more easily doable with proper strategy, but others took me literal days to complete, which led me to try different approaches, different weapons, different tactics, and it was so satisfying when we finally made it. In Breakpoint though, Even on the hardest difficulty, this feeling of being challenged didn't feel the same. It was especially frustrating when, as I just mentioned, just getting to location was a chore in itself, only to get there and not even face a worth enemy or objective, and only to then have to travel back another 10 kilometers on this unforgiving map, and the effort rarely matched the reward. Hey guys, this is a post-edit note. As I was recording this footage, I actually ended up reinforcing my own point even more. Wildlands, I played in the easiest difficulty just to get some footage, and still, without getting into missions or anything, just driving around, getting some footage, I still died multiple times on easy mode. On Breakpoint, I chose the elite difficulty. I went to the hardest one, and still it was so bland. But just to be clear, Breakpoint is not a bad game. There are things that it does really well, but my issue is not that it's a bad game, it's that it feels like a step backwards from Wildlands. So I don't think Breakpoint is bad, it just fails as a Wildlands successor. Even the weather is really different. In Wildlands, during a single session, I went through storms, fog, sunsets, nights. The world keeps shifting around me. But in Breakpoint, I noticed the opposite. The same daylight, same clear skies, same sterile feel. Another example that I capture on footage this time, it's how enemies react. In Wildlands, even in the easiest difficulty, if you kill one enemy and someone else finds the body, they will report it immediately and call for backup. And they're gonna search the area and be sure that there's no one around until they clear it. But I'm gonna show the footage now of what happened in Breakpoint on elite difficulty.
Nothing else.
So it's just these small details that Breakpoint has that Wildlands didn't have that makes it feel like Breakpoint is a step backwards from Wildlands. So Breakpoint is good, but Wildlands, it's great. And what truly felt disappointing, after already feeling a little underwhelmed, was the ending. There's no payoff in Breakpoint at all. The story is divided in 3 chapters, and when you buy the game, it only gives you access to the first chapter. The other 2 chapters are sold separately as DLCs. So when I finish Breakpoint, I told you I was going to come back to this, I was confused. I was really confused because the story was clearly not closed, it was not done. And it didn't come to a satisfying conclusion, even though the game was telling you, yep, that's all, no more missions, this is the end. So I had to search online if that was really it or if I was missing something, only to find out that yes, there's more, but it's behind a paywall. 2/3 of the game are sold separately, so the story feels incomplete unless you buy the other chapters, and that was, as they say, the straw that broke the camel's back. And you can get them from cheap on sale, but it's not about the money really, it's about the principle and core design of each game. Wildlands is a complete, challenging game that is designed around the player to make their experience unique and rewarding. But Breakpoint is a partial story designed to fight against the player with no real reward, and it seems to punish you at every turn, forgetting what made Wildlands such a timeless game. A game that will probably keep coming back for years. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one.